Oh man, see, this is why you invest in better good cameras and stuff. What do you know? What do you know? So I am playing what is the greatest guitar I've ever played, which, as you know, is always the guitar you're about to buy. Well, this arrived in the mail yesterday because who needs to go to a store when you can buy something like this online? This is, it looks like Prince's guitar. It's, which would be a, let me get this right, it was a Hofner, which was modeled off of an Anderson's Mad Cat, and this is a Harley Benton, which is modeled off of those two, which is modeled off of Telecaster, obviously. Telecaster. So, if you are looking for a guitar, the Prince guitar, and you're thinking about buying it, and your questions are going to be, what does it sound like? I'll show you that, but I'm also showing about how we do rhythm guitar like Prince. So the cool thing is, there's already about 100 million videos on there, on the tubes of views, about this guitar. But most of them don't show people playing the way Prince plays. There's one dude that's doing like little... It's like, you know, man, you can do that with any Telecaster. Why would you buy a Prince wannabe Telecaster if you're gonna just play not Prince? So, you know, I've always played Prince stuff, and I've got about two other guitars in my collection right now here to give you an example so you can compare. Because another thing I don't like is they'll show you, oh, the guitar, the pickups are wonderful and it sounds exactly the way you want it. And they never kind of contrast it against any other guitars. And so I have a Stratocaster and Les Paulish. That's another Harley Benton. This is a Harley Benton. Harley Benton, in case you don't know, is a company out of Germany, and they have these made overseas. Since I'm in America, obviously Germany is overseas, but they go overseas from, well, does it count if Vietnam and Germany are sort of I guess it's a different continent. Am I right? I don't know. Let's go back to this plan. How about When You Were Mine? So here's the thing that I like, is that if you know enough Prince songs and you play them, I'm not going to say that I play just like him, because I would never presume that. A, I'm a foot taller than him, and I didn't grow up in Detroit, and I'm not, you know, trying to sound like Prince is like trying to talk like Humphrey Bogart. You can only get so close as long as you're just trying to mimic the guy. So I learned a lesson from maybe Eric Clapton, who said, don't learn from my playing, learn from my heroes. And so the first thing that I always thought about when I hear Prince, well, there's two of them. There's Nile Rodgers from Chic, and then there's a dude man name I forgot from Casey and the Sunshine Band. Now, Casey and the Sunshine Band, you're thinking, who's that? I'll give you a hint. Babe, I meet you. So that guy, and then of course you got Sly Stone. You got the dude from Sly Stone's band, who's also coincidentally named Dude Man. They all play Telecasters. Now I'll tell you, and of course you got James Brown, but I can't talk about what kind of guitars they played. Catfish Collins played a hollow body that looked like it might have been a Vox. I don't know. But the thing is, the thing I learned about Telecasters and why they make such great funk guitars is, let's say over here, let's take a look, you have a Telecaster Style. Now, what do you notice different about the necks? The headstock itself is bigger, and while that's a teeny tiny thing, it actually, I've learned that, you know, your headstock, it absorbs vibration or dissipates vibration. So you have a much more, less sustained, so it's more percussive playing, which is why you end up with what? my favorite is. Another thing that, in case you're tuning this in to find out how does Prince play guitar, one of the cool things he does is he doesn't just strum it like everybody goes, oh, you got to learn this chord, and then there's this one. It's not just that. There's also, he uses this finger to do that thumb popping. Now, those of you that are know your bootlegs, that would be DMSR from around 1985 or 84, where he's like, that late night, head show of hands, how many of you are high? Oh good, you'll all enjoy this clean-headed, you know, back when he was talking about being, not doing drugs. I don't mean to diss the dude, but you know, you spend your whole life talking about not doing drugs and then you die doing drugs. That's kind of, bad timing. Too soon? Did I just lose 5 viewers? Whatever. So anyways, back to the thing. Prince does a whole lot of, which is sort of the Jimi Hendrix. But he does the, what do you call that? A flat seven, diminished, open-handed, uber minor. I'll tell you the things I like about this guitar. The neck, or no, the fretboard is super flat, which the Stratocaster that I have is a custom job that I bought back in the mid-80s when I was 3. And it's a Warmoth. Everything on it is Warmoth, so it's not a Fender Strat, but that's the one I grew up on. And the neck is flat, super flat, like classical guitar flat. You don't have the curve that like a regular Stratocaster has, where when you or Telecaster, where when you bend up, it'll fret out because the neck is shaped like this, and you drag a string across it. If it's going diagonal, at some point, it's called fretting out because it goes too far over. You don't have that on these because the necks are so flat. The trade-off, of course, is that it feels nothing like a Telecaster. Looks like one, sounds like one. I love it. And I almost like this better because of all the bendy bends I do. That's the other thing, is that the pickups on this, ooh, they totally sound like that Dirty Mind Controversy era. You can hear it like that whole. All right, so again, let me switch between this one and a Stratocaster, which has got the Stevie Ray Vaughan frets and necks and everything. Set the old new one down, which by the way, I'm calling Nikki, because you know, we all have to name our stupid guitars a stupid name. So here's dead strings. You hear that, the difference? That's totally Stratocaster, the big fat meaty ones. However, I will say this one, I got a special boop, boop, switch that flips it so it's just these two pickups, so it's got like a Telecaster tone. Ready for this? Yeah, it's not a... I would swear that was a Telecaster if I didn't know my own guitar. So, anyway, back to the greatest guitar I've ever purchased, which is, as I said before, the one you just bought. So here's some things I've learned about playing funky rhythm guitar. Nile Rodgers from the band Chic, who wrote Good Times, which turned into Rapper's Delight, We Are Family with Sister Sledge, and of course La Freak by Chic. He said, and Get Lucky, right? From Daft Punk. He did that. He also wrote Let's Dance, David Bowie. Plays rhythm guitar on all these, and his approach to rhythm guitar is much more like a horn section. So it's, instead of just going, he like hits it, and then you squeeze the guitar, and then you let go when you want mute. So let me go back to, there we go, yeah. there's a whole lot of... Now the thing is, this is the most frustrating part to me, is when you get the sweetest Prince rhythm tones. It's really hard to take that and go to like an overdriven half crunch sound, Stevie Ray Vaughan kind of a thing, because you're running both pickups, so you got the big fattiness and the twangy nasalness. Like to go to Stevie Ray Vaughan tone, let's say, realize that's a Stratocaster instead of this, but as a person who likes to flip around and get my tone and everything, I think that's why Prince's distortion tone is just flat out balls to the wall, heavy distortion, because there is no slightly overdriven on this, because it hits way too far on the audio spectrum of the bottom and the highs, whereas Stevie Ray Vaughan with a Stratocaster, it punches through the middle. Even if you have the bottom end, the neck pickup, it's still kind of middle heavy, whereas this thing, you know. Anyhow, so I realize I'm giving you a review of a guitar and showing you how to play, but look at this thing. Oh my God, so much hotness. This is what we call a skunk stripe. It's got that little stripe down the back of the neck, so kids, the next time you see a guitar and you see that black line in the back, you go, oh, it's got a skunk stripe, and they'll be like, damn, that person knows guitars. The neck, I don't know if there's any way to show you this, but so here's my Harley Benton Les Paul wannabe. And then you see this one. You can see how shiny this one is because it's super finished. And this one, not shiny at all, because I think, you know, it's a satin finish, I guess, which means it kind of feels drier. That one is super slick and you know, highly polished, and a lot of polymers or whatever the words are to make it shiny. And they didn't skimp on the shininess on this thing. Let's see if I can make it ooh, ooh, ooh. But so the neck is a very different feel than like, you know, your typical Stratocasters where the neck is all shiny with polyurethane spray. I don't know what they put on it, but sometimes that gets to be too much and it's sticky. And sometimes you play this one, you're like, ooh, it's nice and dry. So that's a bonus. I like that. The pickups are wonderful. I love Harley Benton pickups, because this one is what they call a Roswell. These are Wilkinsons, I think. I don't know. I don't care about pickups. The cool thing about Prince, he's not like a gear snob. He loves his pedals. He always uses Boss pedals, the flange, the DS1 or DS2 distortion, and the delay, and then the whatever. But as far as, you know, as far as I know, he's not like, oh, I gotta have my pickups, except once he went to that ugly white guitar where he had EMGs. But that's a whole nother conversation. But this thing, the pickup sound, it sounds like a damn telly to me. So here's another Prince one. I wonder what that sounds like over this microphone, because, pardon me, I'm playing through an itty bitty amp today, because, you know, I don't want to wake up all the neighbors with my awesomeness. Anyhow, you know what? I think that's enough. I've shown you some rhythm stuff. I'm not showing you chords, because who cares? You'll figure those out if you Google it. It's more about hit it and quit it. Hit it and let go. Hit it. So you get that percussive hit. So it's all about the Prince rhythm, which goes back to Sly Stone and Casey and the Sunshine Band. These guys, Nile Rodgers, of course, lay in the funk better than any other guitar player. And of course, everybody's gonna scream about Hazel, what's his name, from P-Funk, and oh, what about yada 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 yada. You know, man, it's my opinion. You have your opinion. I bet you love that guy, and that guy plays amazing funk guitar. John Scofield, all these jazz funk people, whatever's. You know, I'm all about the groove, and so I don't care. We can't have this conversation one-sided, because I'll be right. I'm just saying, wow, love the guitar, so glad I got it. It was less than $2,000 shipped. I'm kidding, it was less than $200 shipped. So if you just lost your head, $200 for this thing. I mean, Squire could learn a lesson from this thing. Epiphone could learn a lesson from this. These guys are blowing it out of the water. And yeah, the headstock, does that look like a Telecaster? From a distance. Do I care? Because it gives me the sound I want. And it plays and it feels the way I want. And that's what matters to me now that I'm old and don't care and don't want to blow $2,000 on what was that Gibson Les Paul that I had. Loved it, but wait a time. So I hope you've taken away all the rambling that I have to offer, and best of luck to you, freaks.